I don't really know where else to post this. I thought about putting it in our legal advice because technically it's breaking and entering. But after what happened last night, I don't think this is a police problem anymore. I know how insane this sounds. I just want to share it. I live alone in a 100-year-old farmhouse outside of town. The nearest neighbor is about a mile away. It's quiet enough that you can hear coyotes at night and the old pipes groaning through the walls. About 3 weeks ago, I started hearing footsteps overhead. The thing is, there isn't a second floor. There's only an attic. The hatch is in my hallway ceiling, and it requires a ladder to reach it. I hadn't opened it since moving in, well, because it's full of insulation and ancient junk left by the previous owners. The footsteps always happened around 2 or 3. Just slow pacing, like back and forth. The first night, I just blamed it on mice. And then I thought maybe a raccoon had got up there. By the 5th night, I went out and bought a ladder. I climbed up and I used my phone to look around. There was nothing. There was dust everywhere. Some pieces of furniture that they had left behind. No animals. And no openings big enough for anything larger than a squirrel to get in. I came back down feeling stupid. Then, later that night, I heard the footsteps again. This is where it starts getting weird. I bought one of those cheap battery-powered motion cameras online. I pointed it at the attic hatch. If anyone opened it, I would know. The next morning, I checked the footage, and it had nothing. There was no movement. But around 2:15, the camera glitched into static for 6 minutes straight. When the picture came back, the hallway rug had been rotated just enough. And again, I live alone. I thought maybe someone had hacked the camera. I know it sounds crazy, but I just wanted there to be a reason why. So I bought another one, a different brand. I placed it in my bedroom, facing the door. This one didn't glitch at all. Instead, it recorded me sleeping. Around 2:20 that night, I sat upright in my bed. My eyes were open, and I didn't see myself blink or move. I just stared at the bedroom doorway for almost 4 minutes. Then I slowly laid back down. I have no memory of doing this. And the creepiest part, the doorway was empty. At least, I thought it was. I had posted the footage online to see if anyone could find something that I didn't see. And there were some people in the comments that asked me to brighten the footage, so I did. That was a huge mistake. There was someone standing just outside the frame. You couldn't see his whole body. Just one hand. Long fingers curled around the edge of the doorway. Like he was waiting. He was just watching. He never entered or moved. He just held the frame, waiting for me to look at him. I called the sheriff. They searched my house, checked every room, they checked the attic. They didn't find anything. The deputy actually laughed at me and told me that it was probably just the house settling. I didn't tell him about the video. I'd figured, he probably thought I edited it. Just bored. 2 nights later, I woke up because something smelled awful. Like wet dirt. It's hard to explain. The attic hatch was open. The ladder I kept folded in my garage was already underneath it. And I know for a fact I didn't put it there. I left the house immediately and I sat in my truck until sunrise. When daylight came, I climbed back up. The insulation had been pushed aside. There was a depression in it. It looked like someone had been laying down, and beside it, an empty can of peaches. I panicked, and I left for a week. I stayed with my brother, and after that week, I went back, and everything seemed normal. That was until I opened my refrigerator. Someone had organized all my food alphabetically, every label facing forward, every expiration date sorted. I know it sounds funny to read, but I didn't think it was funny at all, because there was one item in there that I didn't buy. It was a glass jar. It had no label, and inside of it was a single tooth, a human tooth. I finally hired a contractor to inspect the attic. After, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, he called me up there. He found a hidden crawl space behind the insulation, barely wide enough for someone to squeeze through. It ran between the walls all the way around the house. There were blankets, water bottles, food wrappers, and even candles. I also found a battery-powered radio. Someone had absolutely been living here. The contractor asked how long I'd known, and I told him I didn't. He looked confused, and then he showed me a notebook he had found. It was sitting on top of the blankets, and the pages were full. I skimmed it, and every page was about me. My work schedule, my grocery trips, the TV shows that I watched, the exact times I brushed my teeth. There were even entries dating back 6 months. I had only owned the house for 4. The last page just said, "He notices sounds now." Underneath that, it said, "He still doesn't notice when I stand behind him." I almost passed out reading this. The contractor asked if I was okay. I handed him the notebook. I watched him as he read it, and I watched as his face turned pale. Then he asked me a question I will never forget. He asked me, "Who's the woman?" I asked, "What woman?" He pointed to one of the pages. There was a sketch. It showed my kitchen. I was washing dishes, and standing directly behind me was a woman with long black hair covering her face. Her hands were resting on my shoulders. I had never seen her before. I burned the notebook and I moved out the next day. I called the police and they searched again, but They didn't find anybody. They just closed the case. I thought this was the end of it. Then last night my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. It was a picture. It was a picture of me. It was taken outside my motel window. I was asleep, and the timestamp was 2:15. Attached was just one sentence. It said, "The attic was warmer." Edit, because everyone keeps asking. Yes, I checked with motel management. No one was caught on the hallway cameras. No one entered my room, and no one approached my window. My room is on the 3rd floor. Final update. I wasn't going to post again. I packed my things this morning. While loading my suitcase, I noticed it felt heavier. There was another glass jar inside. Again, no label and no note. Just something floating in clear liquid. It took me a second to recognize it. It was another tooth. I called my brother 3 times and he won't answer. I don't think I'm going to stay in the motel tonight. I don't think it matters where I stay anymore. Because while writing this, I looked over at the reflection in my dark laptop screen. Jen, just for a second, I saw someone standing behind me. But when I turned around, the room was empty. I don't know what to do.